Good morning. Happy Thursday. My name is Mary Corrado. I am an interior decorator here in Portland, Oregon. And today I am going to show you how to paint an upholstered chair. This chair has been upholstered in vinyl. So it's a slightly different technique than doing a fabric upholstery. With vinyl, it doesn't soak in, so you don't have to moisten the fabric or anything like that. You just roll it on and you go from there. So I've started the process already, and I'm going to show you the chair itself and what we are going to do with it. It started out as a black, I would say kind of an executive chair. And I decided I wanted to do a little bit of striping and turn it into a navy and white chair. So what I did last night, I added 2 coats of Amy Howard's, see if you can see that I see a lot of glare, Midnight Dreams paint. It's a really pretty dark blue. So I did 2 coats of Midnight Dreams right on the chair, and I used a roller. Just roll it on. That way you won't get any brush marks. It keeps it nice and flat and kind of free of any texture. Now I went over everything except where I want to do some striping. I went over the arms, I went straight over the nail heads. It didn't bother me to do that. I think it would have been too hard, basically, I think, to try and go around each nail head and all that. So go ahead and paint it on, and then you're ready for the striping. Okay, so what I did for the striping is I took my painter's tape, 1-inch painter's tape. Originally I used 2-inch painter's tape, and I taped it, I found center, and then I put 2 strips and painted all this up to here. Now, since I want to add more stripe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this white, and I'm going to paint this center white. But I had to show you, you have to do your 3 across so that you can pull your middle one out to be painted. So now we're pulling this one out. We're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to paint this. Let's take this one off. Okay. Make sure my stripes are looking straight. Looking straight? Looks good. Okay, so wherever you see this dark in here is what we are going to now paint white. So you can use a roller. I want to make sure the edges are kind of burnished down nicely. You don't want anything to get in underneath the tape, because that little bleed will give you kind of a messy little line. So we'll try and do it as best as possible. Okay, so what I'm going to use for the striping is Amy Howard's One Step Bauhaus Buff. I'm going to just pour some in a cup. That way I don't have to keep going in and out of the container. Okay. Let's not overcoat it, but coat it nicely. Let's start in the center. And just start rolling. I see I've got a couple of spots. Oh, that's okay. That's where we're going to be painting. We're good. So go ahead and just roll. Just don't go outside these edges. And it's best to do a couple of lighter coats than it is to do heavy coats. Okay. Just keep working. And if you want to come on and say hi, we would love to hear where you're from. So please feel free to say hi, tell us where you're from, and if you shared this video with 3 friends, then your name will go into a drawing for some one-step paint. Okay. Now this actually does not even need to be sealed when we're done. It's just a matter of, I'll probably put a little wax, Mind Your Own beeswax on top because it will give a really nice sheen. But otherwise, it should work just fine. It should be really permanent. Can you see down here? Yeah, you can. Just going to avoid the nail heads. I should probably tape right over that. And let's make sure to get that nice and smooth out. Okay. Now we're going to have to let this dry. So I'm going to come back in just a minute. I'm going to dry it so we can put our second coat on and just do a little bit of taping off on the nail head so we can just get that on there nice and with a clean line. So we'll be back. Okay. Let's see how this is. This is feeling dry. I went ahead and did my second coat, but now let me scoot this forward and let's see how we did. Let's start peeling this back. I'm going to peel the top first. Okay. So I'm seeing a little tiny bit of bleed through, but not bad. A little tiny bit, because what I think I'm going to do, you can either leave it, I don't know if you can see that, you might not even be able to see that it's just has a slight bit of bleed through, but I may come back and sand this down a bit to kind of rough it up. Okay. And definitely a little more bleed through down in here where it seeps into the cushions, but we can go back and fix that with cute though. Really cute. Okay, since it feels pretty dry, I'm now going to take some light sandpaper, and I just want to rough this up just a little tiny bit. I'm not really going to age it, but I'm just going to. Okay, all that lightness is from, it's from the one-step paint. So don't be too afraid, because I really do want this worn a little bit. So this can get wiped off too with a damp cloth. So this is starting to wear through a little tiny bit, so it doesn't look quite so pristine. I'll just do the back for now. Let me get my moist cloth, just dampen it with a little bit of water. and just kind of lightly get some of that off. That's just is a little bit of powder. Okay, let's do a little bit more. I want to get this residue off before we would put any kind of finish coat on this. We don't need a finish coat, but like I said, if you want to put on a wax, like just a wipe up, mind your own beeswax all over everything, it will give it a nice finish. Okay, I'm just going to rub down a little bit more. We'll be good to go. There you go. What a difference. So cute. Okay, now that everything has dried, I am going to wax the chair. I'm going to use Mind Your Own Beeswax. So let me grab, here it is. Just going to give it a shake, and I'm going to get a clean rag, a lint-free rag, and I am going to add some to my rag. And just rub it really well everywhere. This will give it a nice sheen, help protect it a little bit more, shine it up a little tiny bit. It doesn't need to be too thick. So put it on everywhere. You can see it's starting to turn my rag a little bit blue. So I'm going to flip it over. And start doing the same on this side. That is pretty much all there is to it. You can do the whole thing. I won't bore you with doing all of it, but I will show you the top. See if I can't buff this out a little tiny bit. The longer you wait for the wax to dry, the better. This has a nice protective coat, and it looks super clean and really pretty. Okay, let me turn the camera down. Get your overall view. And there you go. Really fun. So thanks again for joining me. Don't forget to share this with 3 friends if you would like to go into a drawing for your own can of One Step Paint. But I will see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.